Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where Kyle Curtin takes you on an extraordinary journey alongside renowned multifamily real estate experts from every corner of the United States. We teach you how to harness the power of real estate investing and witness the transformation of your wealth building strategy. Let's create wealth together.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's mini episode of the Creating Wealth Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Curtin. Today, we're going to be talking about down payment assistance. Now, I absolutely love the concept of down payment assistance. I think it's an absolutely incredible tool, that can be leveraged in certain situations. Not everybody is eligible for down payment assistance, and it comes in a lot of different kinds of forms, in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different towns and cities. And I'm talking today more about Massachusetts. And essentially, the way that it works is, or I should start off with what actually is down payment assistance. So essentially, what it is pretty much, a tool that can be, provided by the government, or sometimes, certain, types of loan programs, even like towns and cities. Some, specific towns and cities like to, kind of offer their own, which many people don't know about. And it's something that basically kind of like, helps, especially dominantly first-time home buyers, but not for everybody, be able to buy single families up to 4-unit properties to own or occupy in some of these towns and cities, and because, you guys know, it's nowadays, it's very difficult, to break into, buying a property, for pretty much, any kind of, class of folks, you know what I mean? Whether you're buying a condo, whether you're, house hacking a 4-unit building, the prices of everything have gone up so much. Debt has been consistently pretty expensive, depending on what you compare it to. Although it has gone down a little bit, over the past year or so. We still have a long way to go before, a lot of cash on cash has become a lot more attractive. But that's besides the point. So essentially, like, different ways that you can use this. Like I mentioned, you use it to essentially help you fund a down payment. And some of these programs allow you to include closing costs. Some of them don't. Definitely check with your neighborhood friendly loan officer, prior to using one of these, and really make sure that you talk about the details very in depth before you put a property under contract expecting to use a form of down payment assistance, and then find out that you're not actually eligible for it. So some of the things that do come to mind that are typical when it comes to using down payment assistance is, one, it will typically depend on median area income. And again, guys, like the couple details that I'm about to share, it differs for different programs. So it's not, a black and white, like, you have to be like, meet this specific median area income of this specific city today. Things change all the time as well. Guidelines change, programs change. A lot of things change as time goes on. You know what I mean? So this is definitely, kind of an introduction to this type of concept and this type of tool. And definitely one to run by your loan officer prior to basically when you get pre-approved, prior to putting anything under contract. So first thing being, typically you have to, fall in a certain income category. Most of the time, the down payment assistance isn't available to everyone. And it will depend on, there'll typically be like a graph, and it will depend on, the amount of people that are in your household. And then there's like a total income, based on that household. So, and that's something too that it will depend on is it will depend on the area as well. There's something called a gateway city or a gateway market that essentially is an area that, or a market rather, that is being focused on a lot more for development, at a much more accelerated rate, like revitalization. And these types of programs can be a lot more favorable to help incentivize, the public and investors, house hackers, whatever that demographic may look like, to bring them to this market, to help fix up the buildings, to, give people an opportunity to, have a property to, bring up their children and, start a family, whatever the case may be. And it's pretty cool. So, yeah, first thing is definitely, being cognizant of the median area income limits. It's going to depend, guys. Like I said, I mean, I ran into an issue with this when I was first going to buy Leominster, because the median area income for the particular loan product that I was using, which was the MHP1, which I didn't end up going through with that. I ended up going FHA, which was a blessing, but at the time was a little frustrating. But basically what had happened was halfway through the transaction, we're squaring things away. PNS has been signed, like everything's like running and going smooth, for the most part. And all of a sudden I get a call from the loan officer saying that, I'm a touch over the median area income limit for Leominster, which, if I'm not mistaken, was around like 60 grand a year. And that was just for one person as an individual. So basically I had to swap loan products completely over to FHA. And yeah, so basically that's something to be very cognizant of. I mean, Leominster is going to be a hell of a lot different than, Waltham, or like, somewhere in Boston, or, that's absolutely a conversation that you want to have with your lender when the time comes. So other things that come to mind when it comes to down payment assistance is it can take different forms, and you want to know what the heck is going on and which type of form makes sense for you. And what I mean by that is some of these loans, some of these down payment assistance programs out there count as a second loan. So basically, it'll be we call it second position in the industry. So first position is your primary mortgage. That'll be your, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, whatever it is that, you owe to whatever bank that you take that loan through, right? Just your regular mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. And then in your second position, which is basically right behind that, sometimes will be down payment assistance. And it, like I said, it takes different forms. So sometimes, there'll be like, a 15-year option, and it'll be like a 2% loan in addition to, your mortgage payment every month. Mass Housing right now is doing either $30,000 or $50,000. And you don't need to pay that back until the original loan in the first position is satisfied. So that could be doing a refinance. That could be, selling the property and paying off the existing mortgage. However, if you were a true baller and like, just decided to pay off your house in one fell swoop, this would, be something that comes to the table at that time, in order for the state to get paid back. But yeah, like there's a lot of different ways to skin it, guys. Gateway cities, area income limits, the head of, or the household, size as well, and seeing if you size up in there when it comes to, the amount of people in your household and the income thresholds. One of the other things that I wanted to mention too is to look up down payment assistance and then whatever city that you're trying to buy in. So for example, a few years ago, I tried to buy a few properties in Lowell, and this was before I bought Leominster. And, It was actually like 4 years ago at this point. And basically what I ended up finding out was essentially that Lowell, the city of Lowell, had their own versions of down payment assistance. And there was a couple different options, and some of these things you have to take like a first time home buyer course with, to be eligible, as well as following, a few other criteria, like being a first time home buyer, being under the income thresholds, etc. But that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't know, guys, is like, there might be kind of like hidden down payment assistance programs that are very particular to that town or city, especially if it's a gateway city, that you might be able to leverage that, the vast majority of people might not know about, you know? Um, One thing to be cognizant of as well that I'm not positive of, I'm going to be super honest with you, is when it comes to stacking different down payment assistance programs. This is something I don't know if you can do it, or if it would make sense on the other hand as well. So basically, my point being is like, if you use like a mass housing 5% conventional loan with, say it was $30,000 in down payment assistance that, you don't have to pay back until, the loan is satisfied. Can you use, one of those programs from Lowell as well, to kind of like cover the rest of the threshold to, in theory, get into a property with nothing down? Not sure what that would do to cash on cash, because, if you were buying a multi, because you technically have no capital in the deal, although you would have to pay back like, $50,000+ or $30,000+ for that. But so I don't know how that works, but that's something to talk about with your lender as well. But check this stuff out, guys. It's out there. It's crazy. You might be able to leverage it even if you're not a first-time home buyer. I was told recently that you're considered a first-time home buyer every 3 years. So if you bought a house sack, 3 years ago, you might potentially be eligible to use a first-time home buyer, set of criteria again, and access some of these different types of programs out there to get you into your next building or a primary residence. If you're, I mean that as in like a single family or something, if you're kind of going that route. But yeah, check this stuff out, guys. It's insanely cool. Mass housing right now, it is about to change in like March 18th, and I still need to kind of learn more about that. I'm recording this on 2/20, so that's literally like ETM. It's like 38 days away or something like that. The mass housing stuff is about to change. And it might just be for first-time home buyers, but I'm not 100% positive of that. I just kind of, got a little bit of information through the grapevine about that. So something to look into. But I mean, if possible, like I'm looking to lock up, a 3 or a 4 family in, potentially one of these markets and leverage the $30,000 or $50,000 in down payment assistance in addition to the cash that I have at the ready to put into a property, to house hack again. And we'll see if it happens, you know what I mean, before all the guidelines change and that kind of thing. But the plan was to use down payment assistance, and if it ends up being in a gateway city, I've been kind of thinking like Gardner, Athol, like that relative neck of the woods. But like Leominster, Fitchburg, and a ton of other cities across the state fall within the gateway city, criteria. So in essence, you would be able to use 50,000 to, to help you get into a place over there, which is crazy. But like I mentioned, everything's about to change with that. So take it with a grain of salt. Talk to your lender. If you need a lender, I have an absolutely awesome one that I use for everything. And I've referred him like a shit ton of people, even especially incredibly recently, like in the past couple weeks. And trying to help some people, help some clients get their first multis, second multis, keep house hacking, ripping it up, leverage some down payment assistance, and keep moving the needle, as well as, trying to house hack again as soon as physically possible, and try to leverage some of these benefits on my own. But yeah, my friends, that is all for this episode. I hope everyone has an absolutely fantastic Wednesday today. As always, if you have a moment, if you wouldn't mind leaving a rating and a review on the show, it means a lot. Share this around with people who, might benefit from hearing about down payment assistance, or, other ways to get into properties or manage properties, or I talk about a lot on this show, guys. So yeah, but I will catch you all in the next one, my friends. Have an absolutely awesome day today. I will see you later. Goodbye.
That's a wrap for today's episode. We want to thank you for being a valued listener of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Make sure to visit www.creatingwealth.com to connect with us. Dive into our ever-expanding library of informative blogs and explore a wide range of additional valuable resources. Stay tuned for our next episode as we continue to create wealth together.